Welcome back. I'm Dylan with BimmerTech, and on today's video, we take this gorgeous F13 M6 and install our MMI unit on it. This will give the driver the benefits of Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and all of his favorite apps right on his iDrive display.
Here is a list of the tools you'll need for the job. Make sure you get our BimmerTech Pride tools to protect your interior.
And make sure when you're working on anything electronic for your car, you disconnect the battery. So in here, we're gonna open up the trunk, remove this panel, you'll find the battery underneath, and you're gonna loosen the negative terminal with a 10mm socket and disconnect that terminal. All right, so first we're gonna start by removing the parts of the interior that we need to get rid of so we can install our MMI Prime. And first, it's this panel right underneath the gauge cluster. You don't even need your pry tool. Just pull straight down on it. And it's gonna pop right out like so. Set that aside. Now we are gonna take our pry tool and we're gonna move this portion right here. So I like to start from this corner, get this going over here. And it's gonna pop. And a little bit over here. And that's gonna pop. To disconnect the start-stop button. And then it'll disconnect like that. Now over here, we have two more we want to disconnect. This one is another pinch and pull. And this one right here, just pull straight up. That disconnects. And then this whole piece comes out. All right, now that we have those two pieces out of the way, now we have to remove the section with all the buttons on it. And we got 4 screws for that. We got one up here, one here, and then 2 down here as well, which means we have to remove this panel. For that, I like to pull down first before I insert my pry tool, just to get it going. It is pretty easy. You can hear some snapping. That's okay, that's normal. Pull that away, just like that. All right, after we get those 4 screws out, we're gonna remove the fascia and you're gonna find 2 slide lock connectors. Let's disconnect them now. So pull this out like so. Now for these, you're gonna push down on the pin, rotate the arm, and then slides out just like so. Repeat the same for this side. Push down on the pin, slide down, pull out, and set this aside. All right, so these are the 4 screws that we're gonna remove, Torx 20, but since we don't wanna scratch up anything down here, we're gonna take a blanket, slide it over the expensive trim, and then we'll be good to go. All right, so now we get to remove everything from the back of the head unit. It's these, the quadrilock, and these guys down here. So for up top here, you wanna pull this pin in, use your pry tool for some assistance. Get the plug out. Pull it out like so. This one, squeeze the tab, pull up. That one's pretty easy. This one is just like the rest. All right, now for these on the side, I'm gonna gently rotate this head unit around. Little pin that you have to pull up, and then you can put the whole connector off. Out like that. Now for the quadrilock, we're gonna pinch these 2 buttons on the side, and rotate this arm back. Once you rotate the arm back, wiring harness will slide free. disconnect this retaining pin. And now we begin the installation part. We're gonna take our new BimmerTech wiring harness and we're gonna relocate to right here the fiber optic cable from the factory BMW harness. So we're gonna take our pick tool, let's go do that. So right under here, we're gonna slide our pick tool underneath, pry up, and pull back at the same time. And the fiber optic cable will come free just like that. You might need to slide back this a little bit. On this car, it's easy because it's Velcro. That'll give you some extra slack. So we're gonna come over here and take our BimmerTech harness, and we're gonna put it in the same exact spot we took it out from the factory harness. Snaps in place just like that. So in order to make the BimmerTech plug-and-play harness fit, we do need to get some more slack on the fiber optic cable. So we're gonna move the shielding around the harness and pull that back and we'll be good to go. And then we have to take the LCD cable out from the screen, which is gonna involve 2 screws and a little bit of prying. All right, so in this car, the shielding is nice Velcro. On yours, you might have to cut it off or peel it off. So we're gonna move that, and as you can see, our fiber optic cable is much freer now. So we'll put this back around this harness, Velcro it back onto place. All right, now that the Velcro is all taken care of, we're gonna plug in the BMW harness into the BimmerTech plug-and-play harness, like so. Rotate the arm down, and you're all set. All right, so now we have to remove the screen. There's gonna be 2 screws down here. We've already removed them to make it easier. And we have to pry this off. So right behind the chrome, we're gonna pry here, and the screen will come down. Now we have to remove this cable right here. All right, set the monitor aside. And now what we have to do is feed this guy down here where the MMI is gonna live. So you might have your speaker wire in the way. You could just pull that back a little bit. Feed this down. And then get it behind the head unit bracket. Long fingers help for this. Just pull it down as much as you can. And it's gonna live somewhere down here. Make sure this is all tucked out of the way when we reinstall the vents. But for right now, that's what you need to do for that cable. So now we're gonna grab our BimmerTech MMI LCD out cable. We're gonna plug that into our monitor right here. Give it a firm push, wait for it to click. Now we're gonna feed the other end of that cable right back into the monitor. Down where we fed the other one because it is gonna live in the MMI as well. Worry about exactly where that goes in a second. Just wanna make sure we get our monitor in. So we can just actually pull that out of the way slightly. It doesn't need to be completely fed yet. Pop our monitor back into place. And while we're here, let's get this cable all dressed up and in the appropriate position. Again, keeping in mind of the air vent. All right, our MMI is gonna live down here, so that cable is good. We're gonna reinstall our 2 screws, and then the monitor is done. All right, now we're gonna mount our wireless antenna. So to do that, we're gonna feed the cable through this side here, because we're gonna mount the antenna right in here. Just gonna feed this through, get it through the cables that are already there. Grab it from the back, just pull it through for now. Okay. Now we're going to remove the double-sided tape cover here. Slide this back in and tape it to the inside bracket where the head unit lives. Grab it from behind, make sure it's nice and secure. Installation of the antenna is complete. Now we're going to take the USB harness and do the same thing we did with wireless antenna. Slide through here. It's going to get trickier because it's a bigger cable and there's more cables to get through. Just feed it through, find it with your fingers, pull it through the other side, and we're going to drape the USB end through here. The USB AV harness has the plugins for a front and rear camera, but we're not going to be using those. All right, so for this MMI, we want to make sure dip switches 1, 2, and 3 are set to the on position so it functions with this screen. Let's get the plug-in in. So we're going to take the factory cable from the LCD screen, and this is going to be our LCD in. We're going to take the BimmerTech cable, plug it into LCD out, as it is labeled right here. We are going to take, where did our power cable go? Ah, here we go. We're going to take our power cable, plug that right in here, like so. We're going to take our antenna cable, thread that in here, like so. And last but not least, our USB cable is going to go right in there. Now our MMI is going to live down here, and we are going to tidy up all these cables to make sure that we have enough room for a head unit to go in and to make sure this just looks nicer. So let's get to doing that. And now we plug in the head unit. All right, so to give it a test, you're going to need your start button hooked back up and your battery. All right, so everything was good. We're going to disconnect the start button now.
You have it just above it.
Okay, we're going to set that aside. And now we're going to put the head unit into its final place and screw everything back in. And if you feel something snag, we're just going to pop it out, tuck everything where we believe it needs to go, which for this vehicle, it's going to be off to the left a little bit. There's more room there. So it's going to take a little bit of massaging, but eventually everything will slide right into place, just like that. All right, so the only things left to do are plug in this fascia and reinstall it, plug in the AC vents and reinstall that, and snap in that last piece of trim into the gauge cluster. We're in the home stretch. All right, for this one, guide in these 3 hinges here. Snap it back into place. And to finish things off, we're going to take the final piece of trim, which is the first piece we took off, and reinstall it in the car. And there you go. We're done. To find out how to use your devices on the MMI Prime, check the link in the description for that video. And for more tips and tricks about how BimmerTech can help you with your ride, make sure you subscribe and don't forget to hit that bell for more notifications about when we upload our next video. Thanks for watching.